Good morning, students. In our today's session, I'm going to teach you The Lady or the Tiger, written by Frank Stanton, 1832 to 1902, American writer and humorist, popular for his innovative children's fairy tales. Taken, The Lady or the Tiger. In the very olden time, there lived a semi-barbaric king whose ideas, though somewhat polished and sharpened by the progressiveness of distant Latin neighbors, were still large, flurried, and untrammeled, as became the half of him which was barbaric. So, what do you mean by barbaric? Barbaric is nothing but being, savage. Then, following no code of conduct, of uncultured, uncivilized. So he is semi-barbaric. In the very olden time, there lived a semi-barbaric king. What do you mean by that? He is half savage and half civilized, whose ideas, though somewhat polished and sharpened by progressiveness of the distant Latin neighbors, some of his ideas, he gets some of ideas from his Latin neighbors, were still large, flurried. Flurried is nothing but decorative, untrammeled. What is untrammeled? Which is not restricted or hampered, as became the half of him, which only he has civilized only in a only as a half method. The remaining half is uncivilized. He was a man of exuberant fancy and withal of an authority so irresistible that he and himself, so irresistible that at his will he turned his varied fancies into facts. What do you mean by this term exuberant fancy? Rich, lively, abundant imagination or style. Okay. And withal, what is withal? In addition to. Of an authority so irresistible that at his will he turned his varied fancies into. So he imagines about various things. Okay. And he wants to make all his imagination as realities. He was greatly given to self-communing. Okay. And when he and himself agreed upon anything, the thing was done. So he cares for himself. He intimately communicates with himself. And when he and himself agreed, when he says yes to something, that will be done. There will be no doubt and there will be no chance for second thoughts. If something he chooses, that will be done. Then every member of his domestic and political systems moved smoothly in its appointed course. His nature was bland and genuine. So if everything goes smoothly, without any problem, without any disturbance, without any twist or turns, if everything goes properly, he'll be very calm, ordinary, and he'll be happy, cheerful. But whenever there was a little hitch and some of his orbs got out of their orbits, he was blander and more genial still, for nothing pleased him so much as to make the crooked strike and crush down uneven places. If something goes wrong, if there is some problem in any of the cases, what he will do? Now his main purpose or aim is to make, what is that? Crooked straight and crush down uneven places. If something is not straight, he has to make it straight. His aim is to make it straight and he has to make everything evenly. Okay. Among the borrowed notions by which his barbarism had become semified was that of the public arena, in which by exhibitions of manly and beastly valor, the minds of his subjects were refined and cultured. So he is very much popular because of the events that occur in his arena. What is his arena? Arena is a place where activities go on, in which the exhibitions of manly and beastly valor. So there will be what is that? Do or die cause of between human beings and beasts. So here beastly valor refers to instant animalistic courage. And the minds of his subjects were refined and cultured. Okay, people would be allowed there to watch what is going on there, who is winning, who is losing, everything will be watched by the public. But even here, the exuberant and barbaric fancy asserted itself. The arena of the king was built not to give the people an opportunity of hearing the rhapsodies of dying gladiators, not to enable them to view the inevitable conclusion of a conflict between the religious opinions of and hungry jaws, but for purposes far better adapted to widen and develop the mental energies of the people. So the people are allowed there not to express their opinions, rather to witness the ideas of the kings. They are just becoming the witnesses rather than speakers for their own ideas. So what do you mean by rhapsodies? What is rhapsody? Yes. This look at the sentence and guess the meaning. Yes. The rhapsodies, they'll be there to hear the cases or rhapsodies of dying gladiator who is trying to fight against other human being, or not to enable them to view the inevitable conclusion of a conflict between the religious opinions and hungry jaws, but for purposes far better adapted to widen and develop the mental energies of the people. They are just they have to watch how that person is cruelly killed by an animal. That will develop their mental power, thinks the king. This vast amphitheater, with its encircling galleries, its mysterious walls, and its unseen passages, was an agent of poetic justice, in which the crime was punished or virtue rewarded by the degrees of impartial and incorruptible charge. First, let us know the meaning of the word amphitheater. What is amphitheater? A circular building. What is that? So the circular building, which is covered, which has a lot of galleries, where people can be seated to watch either a drama or a play or an activity. So here, with its encircling galleries, its mysterious wall. What do you mean by a wall? Which is a secret room which has strong doors and walls. And its unseen passages was an agent of poetic justice. This term, poetic justice, was coined by Thomas Rhymer. So actually, what is this? This is nothing but a literary device in which people will be allowed to think that the sin will be condemned and virtue will be appreciated or rewarded. The purpose of any literary work is to encourage people to move towards moral values, to encourage their moral deeds. Okay, if you are doing something wrong, you will be punished, you will be penalized. If you are doing great, you will be rewarded. That is the intention of this poetic justice, in which crime was punished or which you rewarded by the degrees of an impartial and incorruptible. There will be no partiality, there will be no corruption. If you are doing wrong, you will be punished. If you are right, you will be appreciated. You can get more chances of doing the same in your future. When a subject was accused of a crime or sufficient importance to interest the king, public notice was given that on an appointed day, the fate of the accused person would be decided in the king's arena, a structure which well deserved its name, for although its form and plan were borrowed from afar, its purpose emanated solely from the brain of this man, who every warlike Khan, a king, knew no tradition to which he owed more allegiance than pleased his fancy, and who engrafted on every adapted form of human thought and action the rich growth of his barbaric idealism. Such a longest sentence. Okay, when a subject was accused of crime or sufficient importance, if he finds that something is done, someone has committed a crime or something wrong, say he'll give a public notice to the people and he will arrange for the trial. Kind of trial it would be, the accused subject is nothing but the person who is being accused. He'll be brought to the public arena of the king, and where people will also be seated to watch the fate of that person. A structure which well deserves its name, for although its form and plan. So this idea was adopted from the faraway, distant places, faraway countries. Its purpose emanated slowly. So the purpose of the idea he might have inherited, or he might have got from some other places, whereas the execution, the plan of action will be made only by him. It is purely made out of his brain. Every barley corn a king, no new tradition to be is he thinking in his mind. That pleased his fancy, who engrafted on every adopted form of human thought. What is this? What do you mean by engrafted? So, how this plan is made into action. So, here people are assembled in the galleries. People are allowed to sit in the galleries, and this man, the king, followed by his ministers, they are all seated in their respective chairs. Okay, of the two. There are two doors. He pleased. He was subject to no guidance or influence, but that of aforementioned impartial, incorruptible chance. So here the thing is, he will not be guided. He will not be influenced by anyone, any of them. He has to choose. He has to follow the call from his mind. There will be no external person to guide him in choosing the door. If you opened the one, there came out of it a hungry tiger, the fiercest and the most cruel that could be procured, which immediately sprang upon him and tore him into pieces as a punishment of his guilt. If he chooses the door in which there is a tiger, the tiger will come out immediately and he'll be killed by the tiger. Okay. The moment that the case of the criminal was thus decided, doleful iron bells were changed, great wails went up from the hired mourners, posted on the outer rim of the arena, and vast audience, which bowed heads and downcast hearts, wended slowly their homewards way, mourning greatly that one so young and fair, but so old and respected, should have merited so dire a fate. So here there is no question, there is no doubt, there is no argument. So nobody is asking that person whether you committed a crime, that particular crime or not. What made you do that crime? So there is no question actually. He opens the door. If the tiger comes, what will be that fate? What will be the fate of that person? So here, if he is killed by the tiger, if he opens the door, in which there is a tiger, he'll be killed by the tiger immediately, and people mourn for the death of the person by ringing the, what is that? Iron bell. What kind of iron bell is it? Iron bell, it is doleful iron bell. What is this? Expressing deep sorrow. Okay. Is that? The moment that the case of the criminal, so they will decide that if he is killed by the tiger, people will decide he's a criminal. Just justify a case. If a particular person, if that accused person is a criminal or not, how that case will be justified? By proving something which may be for or against a person, that will be decided based on the argument made in the court. The particular person may get relieved out of the case, or else he'll get punishment or penalized and punished, get punishments. So here, people will decide that person as a criminal if he is killed by the tiger, and they will mourn for his death. Great ways. What is this? People will cry in a loud voice. Okay. And vast audience and bored heads, all people will be very sad for the death of the person, because they are just, it is nothing but they are expressing their sadness, dejection, and hopelessness, because they cannot do anything. If that person may be the friend of somebody who is sitting in the place, or else some relative of somebody else, whatever it may be, they cannot do anything.